So last Sunday, as many were getting ready for week 1 of the NFL season to kick off, down in Miami, Tyreek Hill was pulled over, handcuffed, forcibly taken to the ground, and got a knee in the back. Teammate Calais Campbell stopped to support his teammate and ended up himself in handcuffs as well. In released body cam footage, we see Tyreek rolling up the window of his vehicle before being dragged from his car. Samaria, my question for you is, from your vantage point, who is most at fault in this situation? The police for their aggressiveness, or Tyreek for seemingly not complying with the ask to keep his window down?
You know, I'm going to say police, but I do want to backtrack a little bit and say that Tyreek could have just kept the window down. I can understand in that moment. I think that the players are supposed to be there 2 hours prior to kickoff. So I think it was like 11:15. So he's already running late. Maybe that's why he's speeding. Obviously, there was other players still kind of trickling in, like you just said, Calais, and then Jonnu Smith also stopped and pulled over to try to help the situation. So it seemed like maybe he was trying to rush and hated that he got stopped because his focus is to get to the game. It's week 1, and he's coming into this season as one of the top players in the NFL. So I can kind of see like maybe him being frustrated a little bit, but he could have just kept the window rolled down. And honestly, we don't even know what would have happened if he did roll the window down at that point. And he did tell the officer, don't knock on my window like that. But I'm going to have to put the onus on the police officer because you're trained to de-escalate situations. I think they had gotten his registration, his driver's license, issue the ticket. You can call the Miami Dolphins security team if you wanted to have some more, I don't know, like if they wanted to send the ticket through them or contact them and let them know like, hey, we just caught Tyreek speeding. Can you talk to him or something like that? Yeah. But I think that it was definitely a power trip. I think that once the window was rolled back up, the officer just took it to another level. I think what was most heartbreaking for me was to see him forcibly put on his butt. And he's like, I just had surgery on my knee. I'm going to
talk about that though. The man scored a touchdown with blazing speed. I think his knee is fine. I get it though. I'd be crying wolf too.
If you get paid for your body, I'm like, if you get paid for your body, like you don't want anybody to like forcibly put you down on the ground.
Yeah. Even at full health.
I just think that like the window. Right, exactly. I do feel like some people were saying that the window being rolled back up is a safety concern. Maybe he could have pulled out a weapon. But I'm like, this is the star wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think that he's going to shoot a police officer on his way to work. But I don't.
I'm going to be all right. So a couple things, right? The lane that he was pulled over in is a designated lane for the Miami Dolphins players to get into the arena, right? So that far right lane is one that is exclusively and explicitly for Dolphins players. I'm not sure whether or not these police officers know who Tyreek Hill is, which is, potentially problematic. I think that you have to have a level of understanding of who certain people are in your city. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, like in Miami, especially, it's a lot of money down there. We don't, people have cars, but not everybody is an athlete. So I don't necessarily know that that you are the Tyreek Hill. And if you are familiar with the Cuban population down in Miami, they operate and exist in a very specific niche bubble. So, I don't want to go into further detail, but let me say that. Now, for Tyreek, like he is legally allowed to have his windows rolled up. But with a tint that dark, just to avoid further complication, I wish he would have kept his window down. But it does not negate the fact that there was no reason for him to be so aggressively removed from his vehicle, to have a knee placed in his back. We saw last year Scotty Scheffler, a golfer who was arrested before an event, was essentially did the same thing, was trying to make a left turn, whatever happened, but he was arrested, but without this level of force. And, did Tyreek Hill have an attitude? Sure. But he's also mentally preparing to go out onto the field and do battle, right? So you don't understand the mental space that he's in to prepare himself to have the performance in which he even did on that Sunday. So maybe, you're impeding upon my ability to focus and lock in on my job, so I got an attitude. And just because I am a black man with an attitude does not give you the authority and the right to violate my person in that way. And I feel like a lot of police officers, I can almost say most, have a real issue with black people having an attitude with them as if we should be grateful and thankful to have been pulled over. We are treated substantially different than our white counterparts in any pullover situation, right? It's super unfortunate, man, and I feel like hopefully Tyreek will take this opportunity to create some kind of platform, maybe carry the reins from what Colin Kaepernick did years ago. Maybe there's some synergy there, because we just can't have these kind of incidents taking place, man. Can't do it.
Yeah, and I know that Tyreek is asking for that officer to be fired.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
feel like there needs to be a lot of training, but at a certain point, it's like they've been training, so I'm not really sure how much.
The officer said it. He was like,
is.
"You think you can do what you want to do? I think you got it confused."
Yeah,
Like as if
he's like, keep crying.
Yo, police officers are not heroes. Police officers are not heroes. Like there are heroic moments that happen within the spectrum of police enforcement, but it does not inherently make you more heroic or better or more important in our society because you put a uniform on. Like I hate that notion. Some of these people just want to have a job that gives them great benefits and a pension. Like not everybody that signs up to be a police officer is out there because they want to do the greater good in society. So I hate when that argument gets brought up. As you know, like it irks the hell out of me. Like there are people who literally just want a job because they want a paycheck, fam. The same way the cat who works at Foot Locker needed money, so too do some police officers. And we got to be able to understand that just because somebody has a badge does not mean that they're trained for de-escalation or trained to learn how to navigate the nuances of society. Some of them jokers literally just want to check, but their implicit biases, the things that they have been nurtured and fostered to believe about anybody within our society will come to the surface even in lieu of having a uniform on.
Well, yeah, it was a sad situation all the way around. You all let us know in the comments, what did you make of the Tyreek Hill detainment situation, and who did you feel like was at fault? Was it Tyreek or was it the officer?